Okay, in this video, I'm going to discuss what happened to me in 2019. Um, I became very, very ill. It started in April, late April. I walked to a Walgreens store, which is about a block away from my house, and I came back and I had trouble breathing. I thought I just, caught a common cold or something. As soon as I got back, I noticed that I was having problems breathing. I felt congested. So, I didn't think anything about it. I just went about my daily routines and everything. But I wasn't getting any better, and the next day was even worse. Um, but I just thought I had the regular flu, and for about 3 days it was like that, and then it let up off me, and I thought, well, I'm okay now. And I had been staying in the house. I stayed in the house for 3 days because I felt like that, if I got out, it would make it worse. So I was taking care of myself. So about the fourth day, I felt pretty good. So I went to Aldi's store and I was talking to the security officer there. And I was telling him, I don't know what I got, but it's some kind of flu. You better be careful that you don't get it. And and I came home, and all of a sudden it hit me again. I went upstairs to my room and I laid down and I was all congested. I couldn't breathe. I became very, very weak. Um, I couldn't breathe, and I just felt like I was dying. So somehow I managed to get up, and I pretty much crawled down the stairs, and I laid down in the living room floor, and I was coughing and everything. And I don't know why I laid down in my living room floor. I usually do if I get very, very sick. That's what I do. I don't know why. But anyway, I found enough energy to pick myself up, and I sat down on the couch, and then I went out, and my son was walking by, and he said that I was breathing like like that, trying to catch my breath, and I just couldn't catch my breath. And he started up the stairwell, thinking that I was joking. He looked back. He said, "Stop joking, Dad." But I wasn't paying. I wasn't conscious. I was just completely out, and I was breathing like that. So he ran downstairs and he called an ambulance for me, and I was taken into the emergency room. I was fighting the. They tried to put me on a ventilator because I wouldn't breathe, but I was fighting it. I wouldn't accept the ventilator. Okay. So the doctor there had to induce a coma to get me to hopefully get me to um, accept the ventilator. This is what he told me. Um, but he said I was still passing away. I was dying, and he wasn't sure about what to do. So the only thing he could think of to do was to give me dialysis. Okay, so they kept giving me dialysis. I kept getting smaller and smaller. My body weight was diminishing. I went in there weighing 200 pounds, and I came out weighing 98 pounds. Okay, so I was fighting the ventilator, and he was giving me dialysis and stuff like that. And I was in a coma for a very long time. My son said about a month. Okay, I talked to him about that. We went over it, and it was about a month. I came out of the coma, and I looked. I could move my head, but that was all I could move. And I kind of looked around, and everything was blurry, and I could see my arms laying there, but I couldn't move them. And I noticed how little they looked. I mean, it was like just skeleton, just bone, skin and bone there. Okay. And then I looked up at the clock, and I seen two clocks in one. Um, I noticed that, I thought it was a strange kind of clock. It was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. All of them doubled, you know, There was 2 1 o'clocks, 2 2 o'clocks, 2 3 o'clocks. That's when I came out of the coma. Okay. Now, when I first got home, I made a video about the experiences that I had when I was in a coma. And that is true. That is true. Um, I did not want to offend anyone with that video. That was not my intentions. My intentions was to um, talk about the things that happened to me when I was unconscious. Um, it was it was real. I was it wasn't. I've talked to other people that were in comas before, and they said that everything just went black, and they just remembered coming out of the coma. But for me, it was different. Um, I was actually my spirit was actually. I believe my spirit was actually traveling around, um, and I seen many things. I really don't want to discuss those things because I discovered later that some people may have gotten offended. It's very religious orientated, and I did not want to do that. The only thing that I wanted to do was to talk about everything that I seen while I was in a coma. So I just want to make it clear that, yes, I was really, really sick. Uh, the doctors told me that I wouldn't walk for 2 years. This is what I was told after coming out of the coma, that I would need to be placed in a nursing facility and have rehabilitation um, over a period of time to try to get me to where I could walk again. And actually, it was stated that I might not ever get to where I can walk again. That's the kind of condition that I was in. But I forced myself. I kept thinking about my mother and my son and my dog and stuff like that, and people in my life, and people that need my help right now, and an animal that I saved that needs my help right now, a little dog that I saved from being ran over by a semi truck in the highway. I started thinking about those things, and it gave me the will to fight back. So I started fighting back, and I pushed myself, and I really worked hard to get to where I could walk. It was, and then even after I could walk in the later part of 2019, I was still mentally slow in a lot of ways. My logic skills were completely off. Um, I mean, I was still recovering from that horrible thing that happened to me that left me with other things. I am currently now a diabetic. I suffer from hypertension and things like that because of that. I think I didn't have those medical issues before that happened. Um, so it was in 2019. I know I need the money and stuff, but I really shouldn't have been working in 2019. I should have been on disability back then because I was in a horrible condition. I was not able to think clearly about anything, and I was confused. I would have to sit down and just kind of organize my thoughts while I was at work. Excuse me, thoughts. I had to just sit down and just organize my thoughts and think about where are you, what are you doing, what do you need to do today, you know, as far as my responsibilities and things like that. And it was a struggle for me where people can think just clearly every day in their lives and stuff like that and be able to function normally in their lives. Uh, this was one time in my life where I could not do that. So, I can get medical proof. The doctor stated that I would not be able to walk for 2 years. They thought I would not be able to walk for 2 years. They were going to put me in a nursing home. So, these last couple of years have been a big struggle for me. Yes, I would like to talk about everything I seen. Also, yes, I would like to talk about everything I seen in those when I was in a coma, but I did get some negative feedback from that, and I don't want that. So I've decided not to do it at this time. Maybe to if I do it again, I'm just gonna sit down and write about it and then read it because I want to make sure that everything is right. I want to think about what happened and stuff. But I'm not sure if I'll probably edit out stuff that people might find offensive because, like I said, I'm not trying to offend anyone. When I came on and I created that video, I was still recovering from what happened to me. And yes, it's true, but um, the problem with that is when people first come out of a coma, a lot of times their logic skills are not working the way they should be. And that was the case with me. So I'm just not gonna I'm not gonna put the video up. I'm not gonna make a video like that. But I just wanted to advise people that I do believe there's something after death. I do believe that. Me personally, I'm not trying to impose on anyone, but me personally, I think there is something beyond this physical body. Um, because I did very much have spiritual experiences when I was in a coma. So that's basically what I wanted to talk about. What happened to me in 2019? It was a long term recovery. It wasn't something even doctors told me that it would take a long time for me to recover from such devastation. I don't want to go into all the medical issues, but there were a lot of them, and I looked like a skeleton when I came home when I first came home from the hospital, and I should not have even came home on that day. I couldn't walk. I couldn't even walk, but I demanded to come home, and I kept demanding to come home because I was worried about my mother, mostly my elderly mother. Okay, but in retrospect, the doctors were right. I was in no condition to do that. I really had to work hard to recover. So, and in some ways, I'm still recovering from that. It was that devastating. People, someone that would have to go through that themselves to understand, how it was, which I don't wish that on anybody. So, that I just wanted to kind of talk about that a little bit. What happened to me in 2019. All right, thank you for watching.